This property was a mess, from broken cabinets to openings in the ceiling to sheets as blinds and trash galore. If you want to see this house transform from the worst to the best, you are in the right place. So sit back and enjoy, and if you do, click the subscribe button. We began by removing the refrigerator, and let me tell you, you do not want to know what was inside. Let's just say a family of mice thought it would be a nice vacation getaway from their usual house under the cabinets. After removing the appliances, counters came off easy. The previous installers must not have used much adhesive. Lucky for me, but I will not be making it so easy for the next guy to remove the countertops. Sorry. After removing the doors, electrical plates, shelves, remaining base, and blinds, I used the paint roller and a damp rag weaved into it to mop up the dust and spiderwebs that scoured the entirety of the house. Later in this video, you will see I was almost bit by a black widow, but I prevailed. When we began to remove the paper adhesive from each and every shelf, we began to realize how old this house really was. This was a style from the 1960s to the 1980s where they would use contact paper to restore and refresh furniture. Every shelf, from the kitchen cabinets to the closet shelves and bathroom shelves, all had adhesive decorative paper to refinish that original look. What were they thinking? After that, I finished with the 220 grit sandpaper to smooth out a nice finish. I also sanded with 220 grit in between each coat of primer and paint. I painted 3 coats total, 1 coat primer to even out the dark brown, and then 2 coats of white. After that, I used some caulking and wood filler to fill any cracks and gaps in the cabinets, especially against the wall. Also, I am sorry for the flickering effect the camera has captured. There were some very annoying kitchen lights that were not best for the camera. I know there's a way to remove flicker from normal videos, but I could not find a way to remove them from time-lapse videos. If you know how to remove the flicker from the time-lapse videos, please comment so I can use that and never have the issue again. So ignore the flicker if it comes back up again. See, the drywall had just been refinished a week ago and was still quite dusty. Let me tell you, paint and dust do not equal a happy pairing. So make sure to wipe down as much dust as possible, and that is important here. If you're still watching the video and enjoying what you see, please consider clicking the subscribe button or the like button. I put lots of time into the jobs and the videos, as you can see, and that would help me out. I think the subscribe or like button will help the algorithm share this video with others. That's all I'll say. Thank you. As you can see, I framed the entire wall with a brush or small roller before I use a large roller to finish the wall. I paint around door frames, electrical outlets, and the windows so that when I take the large roller, I can quickly get through the wall without much interruptions. I gotta tell you, my arms were screaming at me to stop, especially when I had to raise them above my head for the ceiling. Looking back, I probably would have masked everything and then used a paint sprayer instead. But you live and you learn, and that's what it's all about. So if you are about to attempt a project like this, highly consider how much masking you will have to do versus how long it'll take you to hand paint an entire house or room. If it's a small project, I would generally hand roll. But for me, if it's a 1,200 square foot house, maybe reconsider. Also, I would make sure to use a PVA primer, especially on newer walls, because 1, it will even out the color, which is very important. And also, a PVA primer will protect your walls better than an average primer. After removing all the masking, I got to see the contrast of the beige versus the white trim I had painted. And I'm really happy with what it looked like. If I'm being honest, I originally thought the beige was going to turn out pretty dark and make the house feel gloomy. But as it dried, it lightened up a lot. And in the later clips, you'll see how well the beige and white actually went together. So if you think your walls are too dark right when you paint them, give them a day or two and then reassess, just in case, because they might lighten up as much as these walls did. I prepped the concrete floor for the vinyl by scraping and leveling the high spots, sweeping up and filling cracks with concrete repair. This wasn't necessary, but I wanted to be extra careful that nothing would pull the flooring boards apart. We used a 7mm waterproof engineered board with a 1mm backing pad from Costco. I'll link all the products to the project below. Because of the 1mm backing, we did not have to pre-lay the floor with any underlayment, so I don't want to hear those comments. These boards had the underlayment pre-built into each board for easy install. They left the flooring temperature regulated and with some cushion as you walk. Because of the thickness of the board, we had to use a chop saw and table saw to cut through these beast boards. Some boards are score and snap and make the install quick and easy, but that was not the case here. Remember I said a black widow almost bit me? Well, as I was opening a box of flooring, a black widow crawled out of the box and scared me half to death. I don't want to go to the ER, not today. So I whipped out my utility knife and put an end to the black widow. We chose a simple square base molding for the house, which made the angle cuts quite a lot easier. I also think this base went a lot better with the existing door trim that I kept around the doors. I hate the seams in the middle of the room, so I try to keep them in the corner in case a piece of furniture could be placed there to block the seam. Another alternative is a custom order a long piece of that length, but that was not in the budget for this project, which is okay. I tried to seal it up and make it as clean as possible so the eyes are not attracted to it. Instead of using the old countertop, the customer decided to go with a unique butcher block countertop. And it goes pretty well with the cabinets, I think. We cut a hole for the sink and then cut the backsplash on both sides, the sink side and the oven side. I used a construction adhesive to hold down the countertop on the sink side and screws to hold down the countertop on the oven side. These 3 cabinets were new and had spaces to attach a countertop to maintain a better hold for the smaller cut pieces. And screwing these countertops in will make it an easier job for whoever removes these one day. Good luck to the guy removing the countertop on the sink side. As you can see, I then used a food-safe oil conditioner to prep the wood to allow for preparing and eating food on the butcher block. This oil really made the colors of the block pop out. My system for finishing baseboard is pretty straightforward. I mask all of the baseboard at once. Once I finish, I go section by section, caulking the tops of the baseboard first. Then I go over the caulking with my finger and a paper towel to remove any bulk excess. I then finish with a wet rag and a light coat of paint before the caulk dries. I then pull the tape in that section immediately so the line can be super sharp. You'll see me go back and forth about 4 times doing this process on each section of the house. I don't want to do too large of a section in case anything starts to dry, because that'll result in a more jagged line instead of a nice clean straight line. And after that, if there's any spots on the boards that need a quick touch up from wood filler or edges, I'll take a brush and go over those areas. The old wooden toilet in the guest bath definitely needed to be replaced. So the customer bought a new toilet, but the problem was the countertop extended across the entire back wall, which prevented the new toilet from fitting. Jeez. We decided the best bet was to remove the excess countertop and patch the drywall behind it. I hoped and prayed the damage was not bad behind the countertop. And to my surprise, it was pretty intact. So I sanded up the walls, put 2 layers of texture, and it turned out pretty dang good. I broke this mirror that was being uncooperative, not fun, and then installed all the painted interior doors. At the time, the customer did not have the door handles to install. I asked if I could help install the door handles, but he said he would handle it. So, if you're wondering where all the door handles are, that is why. I then replaced the old bathroom faucets with new Delta faucets, which was a great decision. The faucets were falling apart and definitely needed an upgrade. I did not want to paint beige onto the ceilings of the bathroom for fear of making the space feel dark and, lack of better terms, icky. We want bathrooms to feel light and clean and bright. So keeping the ceiling white was a good decision. The customer agreed with me on that, so I painted the ceilings the same color as the trim and cabinets to tie the whole space together. I used clear caulking trick to make sure my lines were perfectly straight. If you do this, remember to remove your tape as soon as you finish the caulk and paint so they don't dry and peel when you remove the tape. The kitchen sink was a breeze with a quick install until I got to the garbage disposal. A new flange had to be added to the bottom of the brand new sink, and it did not match the flange of the old garbage disposal. So I had to find an attachment that would fit the new sink flange and the old garbage disposal. Very difficult. And unfortunately, not many places made that attachment. So we ultimately had to end up buying a new garbage disposal. So if you can try and reuse appliances, that is great and you can save money. But at some point, when you're replacing older items, it may just be the smartest decision to purchase a new system. I made sure to do some touch-up paint one last time on both the wall and trim before installing the air vents and new vertical blinds. I swept and vacuumed the house and caulked around the countertops and toilets in the bathroom. This left a very clean line, and it will also help waterproof in case water gets down in these areas. And that is the completed job. Here is the house before. A huge mess with old styles and fixtures, from broken cabinets to openings in the ceilings, to sheets as blinds and trash galore, to now a brand new, elegant and bright home ready for rent. If you are in the Orange County, California area, and if you are in need of any home remodel, please reach out to my business email below. Again, if you made it this far, please consider clicking the subscribe button, or any button, maybe even the dislike. Maybe that does something for the algorithm. I don't know. I think anything helps. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.